Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm finally back with the best of videos for 2022, and today we have HomeWorx. You might be wondering, with all of the misses and issues that HomeWorx has had in 2022, whether or not there were any good candles. There actually were some good candles from HomeWorx, so we're gonna go and rank my top 5 favorite HomeWorx candles from this past year. I believe these were all from this past year. Usually the stipulation with these videos are new fragrances for the year, and we will do the top 5 of my favorite from HomeWorx, and let's get right into it. So the first one we have is Apple Cider Frosting. I believe this was part of a Christmas in July series, but I did find this at the Marshall's TJ Maxx stores, and this one reads Fresh Pressed Apples, Spiced Cider, Buttercream Frosting, and Vanilla Glaze. And that's what that looks like. I have burned it indeed. This one smells great. The major qualm with this, and this is why it's last on the list, is the throw is oh so light on this. You can really only get satisfaction out of this up to like maybe a 2 or a 3 in a small bedroom, but it's one of those fragrances that are so juicy and delicious that I'm willing to put up with the very, very weak throw and still burn it. And so this one is truly, it's just really decadent and delicious, and it really kind of smells like how the label implies. It's this like, really like, almost like a apple caramel candy. I get like a Laffy Taffy kind of apple caramel candy mixed with heaps of this like just super juicy, sugary sweet, decadent like frosting fragrance is what you get from it. And it very much has like that sort of like vanilla buttercream frosting fragrance that you would get from like their birthday cake candle, but mix that with like this candied sugary sweet. I just get like this Laffy Taffy type of texture is what I get from it. Like a stretchy, I don't know, Laffy Taffy type of feel is what I get from the like apple cider caramel fragrance. And it's quite divine. It's really delicious and awesome. And just the mix of that like crisp apple caramel cider mixed with the very creamy, decadent, juicy buttercream frosting, the contrast of the two and mixed together are just quite divine. And I really love it. It's a nice fragrance. Like if this was in a BBW 3-wick format with the usual BBW marketing and availability at BBW, I feel like this would be such a hit and it would just be great and divine. But because it is HomeWorx and they don't quite have the marketing power that BBW has, and also because of the issues with the throw, that it's, you know, doesn't quite get like the hype that a fragrance like this might deserve. Yeah, but it was just, the fragrance alone was divine. Just the throw left a lot to be desired. But even despite the weak throw, I did really enjoy the fragrance. So number 5 was indeed Apple Cider Frosting right there. The next one we have is Bergamot Cucumber, and that's what that looks like right here. Oh my gosh, this was excellent. So this one I kept eyeing for the longest time because they had it at Ulta, and I was like, girl, I ain't paying full price for that. And so I was waiting until these finally clearanced out, because usually the past seasonal stuff clearances out at Ulta without fail, and every store I went to had an abundance of Bergamot Cucumber because nobody was buying them, but I smelled it in store every single time and I'm like, this is so divine, delicious, refreshing, and just juicy that I was like, I'm just gonna hold out because I know there's so many of these everywhere at every Ulta I go to that carries HomeWorx. And of course finally in the like fall into winter time they went in on clearance. They were half off. I believe this was also on super deep discount at QVC for a pack of 2 for like 18 bucks very, very, very recently with free shipping, which is crazy good deal. I didn't need 2 more, but I will enjoy the one that I have. And so I was super stoked to finally get this on sale. And this one is English Cucumber, Sparkling Bergamot, Sea Salt, and Agave Nectar. I think the label is beautiful, but the naming on it and the marketing could have maybe used a little bit more tweaking. I think Bergamot Cucumber, while is very like straightforward and tells you straight up what the fragrance I guess should smell like, it needs more of like a romanticism to it, or more of a mystery or intrigue, or more of an abstract food like feeling or mood, and I think this would have been much better, like Spa Day or something like that, or something even more exotic than that would have really helped push this fragrance, I believe. But like Bergamot Cucumber, like you just, when you hear the word cucumber, you just really don't think of like, oh my god, wow, I need to go buy a cucumber candle, you know, like you don't really think that. But if it was like Spa Day or something else that was more exotic, if I had more time to think about it, I feel like it would have maybe been a little bit more popular. But in any case, sometimes you have to like look past the marketing and just appreciate the fragrance. Oh my god, I love this. This is just so refreshing and crisp. It's not cologne-y, but it's very clean, and it's kind of hard to describe, but you most certainly get the cucumber in there, but it's like kind of made a little bit like fine fragrance, unisex cologne type of feel from that bergamot, where you get that like sort of citrus zing to it. And there's almost like a saltiness to it. Yeah, it has sea salt in it. So there's a saltiness to it. And I guess you get that kind of like, you do get that like agave type of feel, where it just gives it more of that sort of like spa vibe to it. It's like fresh and clean. It kind of reminds me of like going into a spa, or like maybe like a beachside spa, where there's a saltiness of the ocean air mixed with you getting like a massage, like beachside or something like that. It's just great. It's like a super fresh, clean, uplifting fragrance that's like unique, and it just like super reminds me of like the 2012 like fresh picked era. I think there was like a sage cucumber or something like that fragrance. It almost has like that sort of like almost like a tea feel to it as well, because it has like a herbal quality to it, but it's still fresh and clean at the same time, and it's just super awesome and delicious. It's quite strong too for a HomeWorx candle, so I love that. This is just great for this time of year when you just want like a fresh, clean start and you're kind of sick of the heavy holiday fragrances. This was just super great for that. I just don't think this was super popular, so I'm not sure if it would come back again, but I will most certainly cherish and enjoy the one that I have. And the fact that I had a strong throw on it was just like icing on the cake. So that was Bergamot Cucumber right there. Number 3 on our list is this one right here, and I believe this is called Wildberry Vanilla Bean. Is that what it is? Let's see. Yes, Wildberry Vanilla Bean with notes of wild berries, vanilla bean, starberry, and smoked sugar. This is super juicy and divine too. I love how unique this is. This, so it has like the juicy, fancy lid and jar on it. This I believe was a QVC release as well. There was like the raspberry shortbread one, which I think is repackaged for the Valentine's Day lineup. There was also the like coconut sugar one, which was pretty much just a repackage of coconut cake, and then there was this wildberry vanilla bean one, and this one is so divine and delicious. It's also actually surprisingly strong for a HomeWorx too, so we're a thumbs up on that. This is so immensely similar to PB&J from BBW, which I love that fragrance. It was quite polarizing when it first came out, but I grew to love it so much, and this is like the next best thing to PB&J. It's kind of like the it's pretty much PB&J, but maybe a little less on that weird like mahogany apple and like peanut note, but a heavy emphasis on that like sort of like toasty, smoky, honeyed vanilla sugar fragrance is most certainly in here, which is from the smoked sugar. And then very much a very similar like jam note that you get from PB&J was in here with like the wildberry jam kind of feel that you got from it. So it's like this, it's like this like wildberry jam type of like jam filling, raspberry filling, strawberry filling jam quality is most certainly in there, and it's mixed with that nice awesome contrast of that like sort of powdery, velvety, sugar fragrance that has like a slight smokiness to it, and I love the texture that it adds to it, and it's just absolutely delicious. Very, very, very similar to PB&J for like the reasons that I just explained, and that's why I loved it, and it was strong, so we're good to go there. So Wildberry Vanilla Bean was really good on that. Moving on to number 2 was Peanut Butter Waffle Cone. So this one came out very early in the year, and this one also was very polarizing. And I think the reason is that the naming of this doesn't really match up to what it smells like. It doesn't really smell like, I guess, a waffle cone, and doesn't necessarily smell like peanut butter. It smells more just like actual, like, just straight up peanuts, like in a jar. It really smells like that. But it also kind of smells like peanut brittle, but like very unsweetened peanut brittle is what this smells like. But I love how authentic and realistic the peanut note is in this. I love my peanut fragrances, like pumpkin peanut brittle is delicious. I love PB&J, and this is like probably the most authentic and realistic peanut fragrance that you'll get without it being that overly huge like caramel push and that cloying intensity of like the caramel and butter fragrance that you normally get from like peanut butter fragrances. This is more so like just truly authentic peanut with just a slight, very vague slight sweetness in there. But then you also get like this weird crunchy texture in there. That kind of reminds me more of like the texture of like a sugar cone rather than a waffle cone. So very acquired, weird fragrance that doesn't really smell like a peanut butter waffle cone, but it kind of smells like peanut brittle, kind of smells like real actual peanuts, and then like a sugar cone like essence is in there as well. And I believe the notes on this read brown sugar waffle cone, cracked peanuts, caramel drizzle, and maple sugar. So the cracked peanuts is very strong. There's like a cone type of bakery fragrance in there, not super heavy on the caramel or the maple, and I think that's what sets this one apart from like pumpkin peanut brittle, which is much heavier on the caramel. This one's a little bit more like just realistic and like a savory peanut, but just a hint of enough of a sweetness that I like it, and it's just like really scrumptious and delicious. I love how unique and just different it is. And this one was also surprisingly strong for a HomeWorx candle. This version that I had from, what is this? Poured in 2021. Whereas I can't vouch for the current version that's out in the TJ Maxx Marshall stores. It's very hard to recommend HomeWorx candles because there's such a variation in the quality of the candles, because you would think it would be consistent year after year, but it actually isn't. Sometimes a lot of times the following seasons or the following newer pours will actually be weakened from the original version. So it's just so immensely hard to recommend HomeWorx candles. But this version I had was very strong and I love that. So that was peanut butter waffle cone right there. And then lastly, number 1 on my list, oh my god, I love this. I think I bought 2 sets of this, so I had 4 total. I finished one off completely. I have this one that's half burned and I have another set left. And that's Cherry Blossom Beignets from this spring collection. This was such a juicy, awesome collection that was just plagued by an awful, terrible throw that was just really weak. But the fragrances were quite nice. This one also had that blueberry lavender cupcake, which is now available in a photo label version. That was also abysmally weak in the version that was in this jar. I can't vouch for the new one, but the frosted jars of that pastel colors for the Easter springtime, which is absolutely snatched. Loved it. There was a yellow banana bread one that I would have loved to try, but there was such a huge consensus on how terribly unscented that candle was that I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. But I did get this one and the blueberry lavender cupcake, and this one is definitely lighter than I would hope for, but it's one of those ones again where the fragrance is still divine that I'm willing to put up with it and even buy a backup because I love the fragrance so much. And so it's kind of despite there's reviews being out there that there's really low throw on it, it's kind of it's still hard because there might be a chance that you try it and you still love it so much that you're willing to put up with the low throw. I would love for this to come back out again in a stronger version, but the way HomeWorx's trajectory is, it's they weaken fragrances rather than strengthen them, so I'm not holding my breath. So Cherry Blossom Beignets reads Cherry Blossom Baked Beignet, Red Ripe Berries, and Vanilla Glaze. Oh my god, this is so divine. I love floral, gourmand, floral bakery fragrances so much, and this is no exception to that type of category, and I love it. What you get is a slightly perfumey cherry blossom fragrance that's very similar to sugared peony petals from BBW. If you remember that, it's kind of this vague, almost hairspray type of vague cosmetic perfumey fragrance is what you get from it. Hairspray, a scented hairspray is the best way I can describe it. That it gives it this sort of pink, frilly, generic, vague floral fragrance that's kind of hard to pinpoint to exactly what floral it is, and it's very similar to, once again, that sugared peony petals fragrance, especially because there's also a sort of vanilla creamy fragrance in here, and sugared peony petals also have that buttercream fragrance mixed in it. It's that type of floral mixed with that great awesome cinnamon sugar donut, sugared beignets, hot cider donut, cinnamon French toast type of cinnamony sugary beignets baked dough type of fragrance that you get from all of those is then injected in here. If you mix those two together, that's what this smells like. And it kind of smells like a perfumed pink frilly cinnamon sugar donut fragrance, which sounds weird, but I just love those weird floral bakery gourmand combos, and this is just simply excellent. So I love this one. This is just up there with your pink petal tea cakes and sugared peony petals if you love those. If this one comes out in any form, I highly recommend it. Very light. I can only smell it very minimally in a smaller bedroom, but I can still smell it enough to maybe a 3 or a 4 that I'm willing to put up with it. So that was Cherry Blossom Beignets there. And that was pretty much it. Let me know if you shared any of these favorite candles in your list. Let me know what your favorite candles were down below. It's just a shame because HomeWorx does have you have to kind of sift through the tread through mud to find the gems or diamonds in the rough, but it's once you do find them, some of them that are really truly so delicious and awesome, and they're fragrances that are so unique that you can't find anywhere else. And sometimes you might strike gold and get a fragrance that actually throws well, but sometimes the fragrance is great but then you have low throw, so it's just it's such a gamble and just such a risk with HomeWorx candles. I just wish they would be a little bit more consistent and just, yeah, they have the potential potential, but it's just, there's always something kind of wrong, like with the candle. But it's like when you do find gin, it's kind of like the peanut butter waffle cone or the wild berry vanilla bean, where the fragrance is great, but the throw is also great. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, I finally found something good. But yeah, it is what it is. I just hope one day HomeWorx will actually listen to our, I guess, concerns and improve, but we'll see. That's clearly up to them. So thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.